correspondent. The president still hasn't given a clear, unequivocal defense of the NSA and its surveillance programs. For that matter, neither has Congress. My first guest tonight says General Alexander provided the first true, meaningful defense of the agency. Joining us now is former federal prosecutor Andrew McCarthy, who led the successful terrorism prosecution of the 1993 World Trade Center bombers, and also the author of the bestsellers The Grand Jihad and Spring Fever. Good to have you with us.
Nice to be here, Lou.
General Alexander was forthright, it seemed. He made a compelling case. I even sensed in that committee, that hearing room, that the committee was growing up a little. I didn't hear, we heard what Congressman Schiff start giving the generals very valuable advice, I'm sure. But it seemed a little more mature in tone than it's been.
Yeah, I think you got a real adult who was in complete command of the facts, and I think made the most compelling defense of this program. Now, I don't think it'll be enough, because there's nothing like the bully pulpit, and as effective as General Alexander is, he's not the president. These programs really need the defense of the Oval Office, and specifically President Obama.
The president's defense of his administration, this agency, rose to this level. He thought it was pretty transparent, the prison program. What does he need to say to be effective in the defense of NSA and his own administration?
Yeah, anything but transparent, because I think after 5 years with the opacity of this administration, transparent is more the butt of a joke than anything that will be effective in the discourse. He needs to explain, much like General Alexander did, why we need these programs and what the structural civil liberties protections are in them. Because the runaway freight train here is that people who are opposed to the programs and saw this issue as a way to relitigate everything they lost when the Patriot Act was reauthorized and when the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act was overhauled, have stolen the narrative here and basically have people thinking that the intelligence community is actively spying on Americans.
I think today, if I'm correct in sensing some higher level of maturity on the part of the committee, perhaps that's about to ebb. They, of course, always have the reinforcing value of the national media, given the politics of the matter. So hopefully we'll see more attention paid to the Chinese cyber attacks in this country than on trying to take up the time of those who are leading the effort to protect the country and its infrastructure. Let me turn to the summit, the G8 summit in Belfast. The president walked away basically slapped around by Vladimir Putin. It was an abysmal performance for the United States.
Yeah, but how could it be anything but, though? If you think about it, you have ideological progressives who think that the way to conduct American foreign policy is not to be guided by the compass of our own vital interests, but to be part of a world community in which we basically recruit countries that are hostile to the United States, very much including Russia, not only into the decision-making process, but actually give them a veto over the actions that we wish to take. And this is the structure that we find ourselves in, largely because of people like this. We're living in Barack Obama's world, and this is the result of it.
And we will be doing so for some time. And in the matter of days, we'll be taking up direct talks, the United States will, with the Taliban on a resolution in Afghanistan. I mean, this turns our history, our foreign policy for decades on its head, and leads where?
It leads to where common sense takes you, which is that a war has a winner and a loser, and if you don't stay in it to win it, you lose. And I think a lot of what has gone on from the president's speech about how he's basically declaring that the war is over without having to do the hard work to end it in a positive way, to what we're seeing now is they're trying to dress this up into something other than a humiliating defeat for the United States and something that's very much contradictory to what our interests are going forward.
Andrew McCarthy, always good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you. Coming up here next.